The Ulster Unionist leader, Sir Reg Empey, yesterday outlined his vision for a new kind of unionism that embraces the entire geography and peoples of the United Kingdom. And Conservative leader David Cameron told the Unionist AGM that he wanted Northern Ireland MPs to serve in a future Conservative government. So can the fine vision become a reality? Reg Empey's with me now. You're very welcome. Is everyone on board now in your party, all signed up?
Well, I think that we've had two agreements that we've come to with the Conservatives in the last year. We had road shows in our party. Our executive discussed two documents, and while a few people did not vote for them, nobody voted against them, and they were overwhelmingly passed. So we're moving on. It is a process. It is not a completed process because we haven't even discussed Assembly or Council issues, but we are trying to broaden. We are trying to build a meaningful East-West pan-unionist link.
OK, well,
that's what we're trying to do.
Your sole MP, Lady Sylvia Herman, her silence on this is definite.
Yeah, well, first of all, the agreement that we reached in November specifically excludes the present Parliament. So Sylvia is not under any obligations whatsoever to do anything that she's not already doing. She's not a Unionist Member of Parliament. She's doing a good job, and she's under no obligations in that. And we've indicated quite clearly that we're not going to try and shoehorn everybody into things. This is going to take time. For the vision.
So she's clearly against it then at present?
No. I think it's what she's doing. Along with others, we're looking very closely at it. We're having discussions. We're talking to the Conservatives. And what we are trying to do, which is not easy, is repair relationships that were broken down 20, 30 years ago. We're trying to build and re-inject Northern Ireland into the centre of British politics. If you look at the nationalist position, you've got Sinn Féin as an all-Ireland party. The SDLP opened discussions 2 years ago with Fianna Fáil. And I said to myself, if we're not careful here, we're going to have two parties that could have ministers in Dublin and ministers in Belfast, and we're sitting here in Belfast with no tangible, meaningful links to British politics.
OK, but what's the tangible outcome of all of this? David Cameron there says he wants Northern Ireland MPs in his government.
Yes.
You've only got one MP, it's Lady Sylvia Herman. Yeah. She's not signed up to this yet.
Yeah,
is he going to be able to realise that ambition?
Well, as I say, it doesn't apply to the present Parliament.
Yes, but he's looking ahead. Of course, people in politics have to look ahead.
We're looking to the future, and to sort of achieve what I want to achieve, which is a shift in our politics, to broaden it, to put it more onto the socio and economic issues, now that we've made a lot of progress on the constitutional issues. I think it's going to take a generation to actually achieve...
Sylvia Herman to sign up to this?
It's going to take a generation to achieve what we want to do, because why should unionism confine itself within purely a sectarian basis? I used a phrase in my speech yesterday that we had to free ourselves from the tyranny of sectarianism. I think that has dominated our politics for too long. We have to have a broader vision, a wider vision, because what's hurting people today is social and economic issues, job losses.
Indeed, but it only makes sense in a Westminster context, because you're talking about being linked into the national government.
And European context.
Well, indeed, but you're talking about being linked into the national government. And looking ahead to Westminster elections, you cannot guarantee at the moment that your sole MP will be on the party ticket.
Well, no guarantees can be given about anything,
particularly when your
MPs have to be elected and be selected and go through all the processes. But what I am quite clear about is that we have been given a clear understanding that if we are able to return members of Parliament, they will not simply be isolated on the back benches. They will be part of the next government if it happens to be a Conservative government. And that has never happened in several generations. And I think you need to go really back to the early part of the 20th century till you actually can find where unionists had a meaningful role in government.
But does that mean, if Sylvia Herman doesn't sign up to this, that you will field a candidate against her? Because David Cameron has said he's committed to running candidates in every constituency.
We'll come to our own conclusions in our own time. We're not going to rush this. We're not going to, I say, shoehorn people into things. We'll get there in our own way. And what we've been doing, when you compare the difficulties we had over the Belfast Agreement, where we had rows and fights and so on, to have no vote against what we're trying to do at two key meetings is quite a change. And I have to say, before sort of trying to pull things down, try and look at what it is we're achieving. We're trying to reintegrate Northern Ireland right to the heart of United Kingdom politics. And I think that in the current circumstances, that's a very substantial move forward for unionism.
What about the name? There's been confusion as to what it's called. Is it Ulster Conservative and Unionist New Force, or do we use the shorthand version, Conservative and Unionists?
We're using that as a sort of trading name and a poster, because you can't put a whole lot on that. But for electoral law reasons, we have to have, because we're running joint candidates, we're not creating a new party. If we were creating a new party, it'd be simple. But because we're running joint candidates, we are limited in what we can say. So we'll be, on the ballot paper, it will be Ulster Conservatives and Unionist New Force, and that will be on the ballot paper.
So when Jim Nicholson, for instance, appears, say on this programme, we have to caption him, should it be Conservatives and Unionists? Or?
Well, that will be the sort of trading name that we'll be using during the election, but on the ballot paper it will be Ulster Conservatives and Unionist New Force.
But of course this has caused all the controversy within your own party at the launch. The confusion over the name is because you have sensitivities around dropping the term Ulster, and it seems that for obvious shorthand purposes you said it is going to have to go.
Well, no, it's not going. I mean, we are two parties. And the agreement we've reached makes that absolutely clear. I mean, people getting hung up on issues like that misses the point here. We are now in a position where within a very short space of time, we could have MPs elected here in Northern Ireland sitting as members of the next government of the United Kingdom.
Yes, but the big flaw in that is, as I've said, we can't point to your one MP at the moment and
Jim,
say that she's on board.
You focus on an individual.
You're only MP.
Look at the wider picture. Listen to what I'm saying. You could have Ulster MPs sitting as members of the next government. Now, that is a huge change. And I think we have to work out the policies, of course. We will have a major say in that. And we do not have, if we decided not to go ahead with anything, it stops. So we have complete control over our own affairs. But I think for the wider interest of unionism, in the long term, it is good that we have the opportunity, because we're the only part of the United Kingdom that has no real ability to elect its own government. This is change, it's big change, and I hope there will be a response to it.
So, Reg, many thanks.
Thank you.